Church in North Texas set to be looking for a new pastor after theirs was fired, accused of having an inappropriate relationship with a woman.
These megachurch pastors preached about holiness every weekend, building their churches into spiritual empires that drew tens of thousands. But behind the pulpit, many were secretly living double lives. From secret affairs, emotional entanglements, to hotel room scandals that shattered entire congregations. These are the 10 most shocking clergy cheating scandals in Christian history. Let's get into it. 1. Steve Lawson, the Reformed theologian's hidden affair. For decades, Steve Lawson was respected as one of the most trusted voices in Reformed theology. A pastor, author, and preacher who often stood alongside giants like John MacArthur. But in September 2024, his world came crashing down. It was revealed that Lawson had been involved in a 5-year emotional affair with a woman in her late 20s. Though he insisted there was no physical adultery, the relationship was still deemed a sinful entanglement that betrayed both his wife of over 40 years and his congregation. Lawson was removed from his position as lead preacher at Trinity Bible Church of Dallas, and for months he stayed silent, leaving the Christian world stunned. When he finally spoke, it was on X, formerly Twitter, where he admitted he had sinned grievously against God, his family, and his supporters. Even today, his fall remains one of the most devastating blows in Reformed circles, where Lawson had once been considered a pillar of integrity. 2. Jeremy Foster, the fall of hope. City's pastor. Jeremy Foster was the energetic founding pastor of Hope City Church in Houston, Texas, a congregation that skyrocketed in growth and became one of the fastest-growing churches in America. But in early 2022, Foster shocked his congregation when he abruptly resigned, confessing to an extramarital affair with a woman outside of Hope City. The story only grew more complicated when, more than a year later, Foster broke his silence in a raw Instagram video. In it, he expressed deep sorrow, apologized to his family and church, and revealed that he was now at peace, remarried, and working in the private sector. Adding to the drama, Foster's marriage to his ex-wife Jennifer had already drawn headlines. In a TBN UK interview, the couple publicly admitted to their dysfunctional marriage. Jennifer even confessed to physically abusing him, saying the pattern began on their honeymoon and reflected the only way she knew how to argue. While some saw this revelation as a bid for sympathy, Foster refused to use it as an excuse. He took full responsibility, stating, "It was on me. I have no defense, only an apology." He admitted the divorce was ugly and acknowledged the pain caused to Jennifer and their 5 children. His downfall was a sobering reminder that even pastors who build massive churches can see their ministries collapse overnight when secret sin finally comes to light. 3. John Gray, the pastor of Public Confessions. John Gray was a rising star in American Christianity. As an associate pastor at Lakewood Church under Joel Osteen, and later the senior pastor of Relentless Church, now Love Story Church, in South Carolina, he carried charisma, humor, and a unique ability to connect with both churchgoers and celebrities. But Gray's name has been repeatedly tied to alleged infidelities and financial scandals. The most explosive moment came in 2020, when he was accused of paying a woman for explicit photos. By April 2022, he addressed the rumors head-on in a podcast, publicly apologizing to his wife, Aventer Gray. In that emotional confession,
over a year ago, my wife and I were in a very difficult place in our marriage. And in that time, I began to converse with someone other than a counselor, other than a pastoral leader. And I was even in the presence of that person one time. But being in the presence of someone is not the same as sleeping with them. I did not sleep with anyone. There's no baby. There's none of that.
While some sympathized with his transparency, critics weren't convinced. Was this true repentance or just another performance of sorrow to protect his image? Gray's dramatic flair made it hard to tell whether the tears were raw emotion or carefully crafted damage control. Through it all, Aventer chose to remain by his side, saying their story could bring healing to others. Today, the couple attends therapy, and Gray insists he has taken responsibility for his failures. Still, the controversy serves as a reminder of how public pressure and hidden wounds can collide in ways that devastate marriages, ministries, and reputations. 4. Matt Chandler. The inappropriate online relationship. Matt Chandler is one of the most recognizable names in modern evangelicalism. As the lead pastor of the Village Church in Texas, president of a global church planting network, and a best-selling author, his influence stretched far beyond his own congregation. But in August 2022, Chandler stunned the evangelical world when he stepped aside from preaching due to what elders called an inappropriate online relationship with a woman who was not his wife. The church admitted the messages were not romantic or sensual in nature, but they carried a frequency and familiarity that crossed a line. Elders also noted Chandler engaged in coarse joking that was unbecoming of a spiritual leader. At first, Chandler brushed it off, saying he didn't believe he had done anything wrong. But later, he acknowledged that as a pastor and elder, he had fallen short of the higher biblical standard.
I'm the lead pastor of this church. I plan on being the lead pastor of this church for the next 20 years. But I do need to... It's harder seeing you. We cannot be a church where anyone is above the scriptures and above.
The case highlighted the blurry but dangerous territory of emotional infidelity, boundary violations, and spiritual power dynamics, showing that even without explicit sensual acts, a pastor's misuse of intimacy can still cause lasting damage. 5. John McKenzie, the shocking resignation at Hope Fellowship. John McKenzie was the beloved senior pastor of Hope Fellowship Church in Frisco, Texas. Under his leadership, the church grew into one of the largest congregations in the region, known for its vibrant worship, outreach programs, and family-centered ministry. To his flock, McKenzie was a spiritual father figure and a model of integrity. But in September 2025, the congregation was blindsided by a devastating announcement. During a Sunday service, interim lead pastors Angela Lentz and Aaron Alexander read an emotional statement revealing that McKenzie had been disqualified from ministry after engaging in an adulterous relationship. The revelation came with heartbreak and disbelief. McKenzie himself released a letter, admitting his failure and expressing sorrow for betraying his wife, his family, and his church. For many who had sat under his preaching for years, the confession was nothing short of shattering. The fallout has left Hope Fellowship reeling. Members are grappling with grief, shock, and disappointment, while the wider Christian community is once again forced to confront the painful reality of moral failure at the highest levels of church leadership. 6. Chris Reed, the rising star of Morning Star Ministries. Chris Reed was supposed to be the future of Morning Star Ministries. Handpicked to succeed founder Rick Joyner as CEO, he was young, gifted, and seen as the next voice to lead the prophetic movement. Married with 6 children, Reed preached purity and preparation, while secretly living a very different story. In 2021, it was revealed that Reed had been engaged in an inappropriate relationship with a woman named Catherine. According to reporting from the Roy's Report, Reed admitted to sending her terrible sexual texts and even kissing her. The affair reportedly began in November 2021 through private Facebook messages. But it didn't stop online. The two allegedly met in person, sometimes in Reed's van, while he was still married and preparing for the highest leadership role of his career. Morning Star leadership, including Joyner himself, was made aware of the situation at the time. Yet instead of derailing his rise, Reed's trajectory toward becoming CEO continued, leaving many questioning the accountability within the ministry. The scandal cast a long shadow over his succession, proving once again how secret sins can shake even the most carefully constructed legacies. 7. Carl Lentz, Hillsong NYC's celebrity pastor. Exposed. Carl Lentz wasn't just a pastor, he was a celebrity pastor. Known as the rock star preacher of Hillsong, New York City, he baptized Justin Bieber, mingled with A-list stars, and was the face of a new stylish brand of Christianity. His charisma packed out theaters every Sunday. But in November 2020, the facade came crashing down. Global senior pastor Brian Houston announced that Lentz had been terminated for leadership issues and breaches of trust, plus a recent revelation of moral failures. The very next day, Lentz admitted to what everyone feared: an adulterous affair. In a lengthy Instagram post, he confessed to being unfaithful to his wife of 17 years, taking full responsibility for his choices. Soon after, the mistress herself, Ronan Karim, a New York jewelry designer, stepped forward. She revealed the details of a 5-month pandemic affair, saying they met in Domino Park and carried on until staff discovered incriminating texts on Lentz's iCloud account. The scandal was devastating. Hillsong NYC's reputation unraveled overnight, and what was once the fastest-growing church in Manhattan became a cautionary tale about the dangers of fame, power, and secret sin. 8. Tullian Tchividjian, the grandson of Billy Graham in disgrace. With a last name like Tchividjian, he carried the weight of a spiritual dynasty. As the grandson of Billy Graham, Tullian was hailed as a rising star in evangelical circles. Serving as senior pastor of Coral Ridge Presbyterian Church, his preaching carried the aura of moral authority and generational legacy. But behind the pulpit, he was living a double life. In June 2015, Tullian resigned after admitting to an extramarital affair. For many, that was shocking enough. But the truth was far darker. Just months later, in March 2016, a second affair was revealed. One that actually predated the first, meaning he was already entangled while still leading Coral Ridge. The fallout only worsened when reports surfaced that church elders had known about the first affair 2 years earlier and chose to conceal it. They advised Tullian not to tell his wife and kept it from other elders. That silence allowed his secret life to continue, ultimately making the public scandal even more devastating. Eventually, the Presbyterian Church in America declared him unfit for Christian ministry and deposed him as a teaching elder. For the grandson of Billy Graham, it was a spectacular and painful fall from grace, one made worse by the institutional cover-up that enabled it. 9. Chris Hill, the protege, who betrayed his own house. Chris Hill wasn't just any pastor. He was the hand-picked protege of Bishop T.D. Jakes, groomed to carry spiritual influence into the next generation. As senior pastor of the Potter's House of Denver, he commanded thousands and preached passionately about holiness, family, and faithfulness. But in 2017, the truth came out in the most humiliating way imaginable. His wife of over 20 years, Joy Hill, exposed him in a mass text message to their entire congregation. In that message, she revealed that her husband had been carrying on an affair for several months with their young goddaughter, Shernay McFarlane. The betrayal wasn't just marital, it was spiritual. The term goddaughter highlighted a shocking absence of sacred trust, turning what should have been a family-like relationship into a scandal. According to Joy, Chris only confessed after she hired a private investigator who tracked the couple for 6 weeks, leaving no room for denial. The fallout was explosive. Hill's reputation collapsed overnight, and what had once been hailed as a bright future under Bishop Jakes' mentorship ended in disgrace. 10. Marcus Lamb, the Daystar founder's forced confession. Marcus Lamb wasn't just a pastor. He was the Pentecostal media mogul behind the Daystar television network, one of the largest Christian broadcasters in the world. His sermons, along with those of countless evangelical heavyweights, reached millions of homes globally. To many, he was the picture of Christian success. But in November 2010, Lamb shocked his viewers with a confession, broadcast live on Daystar. He admitted to an extramarital affair that had taken place several years earlier. At first glance, it seemed like a bold act of repentance. But the truth? His hand was forced. Lamb and his wife, Joni, revealed that
3 people that Joni shared with you, they're trying to take our pain and turn it to their gain. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to take God's money and pay to keep from being humiliated, I guess, or exposed, or exploited, whatever you want to call it.
Still, the revelation raised a haunting question. Was this true repentance, or a confession made only under the pressure of exposure. For a man whose platform was built on holiness and integrity, the fallout was devastating. His story revealed how financial and reputational pressure can expose secret sins, whether the guilty party is ready or not. From Steve Lawson's emotional affair to Marcus Lamb's televised confession of infidelity, these scandals reveal one haunting truth. Even those who preach the loudest about holiness can fall into double lives that shatter families, churches, and entire movements. But here's the real question. Do these public confessions represent true repentance, or carefully crafted performances to protect reputations? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you want more in-depth dives into the hidden scandals of modern Christianity, make sure to hit the subscribe button because we have much more to uncover.